Tuning in that you are definitely missing out. It's the DL Hughley Afternoon Show, weekdays from 2 to 4 only on unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580.
Like a brand new flavor in your ear. Yeah.
First things first.
Things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule. 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not doing serious. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the move. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning. Happy Friday. God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is First Things First, and my first thing every day, every single day, no matter what is going on. Giving thanks, giving praise, and asking for blessings from the Most High. Asking for the blessings of the elders, the ancestors, the community. Let's go. We have an incredibly lot to talk about today, and I would love to hear from you every hour. Hour 1, 2, and 3, 800-920-1580. Hour 1, we look local. Hour 2, we go national. This day, national and local really are one. Hour 3, we have a deep dive with a person of interest. Today, it will be Congressman Adam Schiff. I'm sure he'll have a lot to say about the indictment of the 45th president, among other things. Joining me this morning, my partner in politics. She's a labor organizer. She's also a KBLA contributor. Sherri Bell, welcome.
Hey, everybody. Thank you, Dominique. Happy Cesar Chavez Day. Oh, no, was that yesterday?
No, it's today.
It's today. Yeah.
And it is confusing because a lot of, we talked about this earlier in the week. The county and some others celebrated it Monday, so they had Monday off, and then others celebrating it today. So if you're going somewhere, check, because banks are open today, for example, and libraries are open today, but courts are closed.
Oh,
so it's just like a big mishmash because they didn't all decide what day they wanted to celebrate.
Got it.
Happy Cesar Chavez Day. Happy, not happy, not happy L.A. Day. It's also the anniversary of the murder of Nipsey Hussle.
Wow.
Just a lot of things. Crazy things going on, and the 26th was the anniversary of the death of Eazy-E, and I was really trying to get someone in here to commemorate that. Didn't happen, but I never forget my friend Eric. Rest in peace. I'm going to talk about that and more, and of course, the trial of Mark Ridley Thomas, like top of mind. I feel really sad about it, really depressed about it.
And I do too. I mean, he has a legacy in the city and the county and, in state government. It's just a sad day when I think about what he was found guilty of, like the child thing, right? Helping his child, and all of these charges are brought against him, and I'm just hoping that they don't throw the book at him. And I also wonder where the heck is USC's responsibility in this, because USC's been caught up in many scandals, including Operation Varsity Blues, and now this, and then they just get off the hook. I mean, I know the woman, the chair of the social work department, pled guilty. However, like, there's something within that infrastructure that causes people to feel, empowered to do illegal things. So I just feel like the school in itself, the institution, which is a very powerful institution, doesn't really be held accountable, I think, in these situations.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Someone else was talking about too. The gynecologist. We had that other. I had a school that was out drinking with the students. Wow. You had the varsity blues, as you said, and I'm missing out a few. USC definitely should bear some accountability. But that said, I get distressed I couldn't even really spend a lot of time online yesterday because for me, black people or anybody that are celebrating this as a victory, they're just not paying attention. They're I don't know if they're ignorant or they just don't follow the news, because this is not good news. There's no way this is good news. This is a man who has been one of our most effective lawmakers, getting things done for black people and everybody else.
Yeah.
Important things, like the Martin Luther King Community Medical Center, which is literally saving women's lives.
Yep.
And other people too. But their Black maternity health program is among the best in the country. You've got the empowerment congresses, which were started and set up by him. I mean, we can go on. And there's just no way. I just don't understand that impulse.
And there's so many things named after him. He did a lot of investment in parks and recreation. The Mark Ridley Thomas Bridge over there.
I love that bridge, yeah.
And it's just like I'm not going to fall for the okie doke of holding like one thing over one's head and judging them for that one indiscretion. He's been in politics a long time. And for them to convict him on something, and I'm sorry, the punishment should fit the crime, right? If all that came out of this is $100,000 for a scholarship and a teaching position, like, they should not be, sentence him more than Jose Weezer, you know what I'm saying? Who did more money and more.
I mean, who was actually personally gaining, right?
Yeah.
What they are alleging, and I guess I could say they proved, although there will be an appeal. Mark Ridley Thomas's lawyers have said there will be an appeal, and if he wins on appeal, but what they're saying he did, to your point, none of it personally enriched him.
That's right.
They're saying he approved contracts which would have been approved anyway because there's 5 members of the Board of Supervisors. They're saying that he funneled money into an organization led by his son, which is a nonprofit organization. And they're saying he helped his son get a scholarship and a job. To your point, none of those are crimes that harm anybody if they even are crimes. And number 2, I mean, they're nothing to personally enrich himself, where Jose Weezer was up there with, prostitutes and popping bottles and, living it up in Vegas.
And I know that there are people that are in state government, local government, that have done nepotism, and done favorable things for loved ones, and I haven't seen any criminal charges brought against them.
Honestly, I'm people hate it when I say this, but I'm a believer in nepotism as long as the person qualified for the job.
Right.
Who are you going to trust more than your brother, sister, auntie? I mean, honestly, it worked for the Kennedys. Why doesn't it work for us?
It doesn't work for black people, though.
Right.
Not as well, honestly.
I mean, that's what Jazz Mechanic wrote an article about this Mark Ridley Thomas situation, and what she was saying, that was her whole point, which is that, all black politicians need to note that we don't get the same grace. We do not have the same rules as everybody else. And, I don't think that's breaking news, but it is a good point. And it validates what you're saying, because we could probably, do an analysis and come up with lots of politicians of other hues that have done things for their family and extended family, starting with the 45th president, and, whose daughter got all those licenses in China and whose son-in-law got billions from the Saudis.
I mean, the list is endless. I mean, if you really sit down with a pen and paper and do some research, that's what I'm saying. But the reality is he did get found guilty, and now, there's going to be next steps. And I mean, I hope he wins on appeal, and I hope he doesn't get more than a year. You know, I mean, it's just unfortunate. I don't really recall like how this came to light. I'm gonna be honest. I forgot how it came to the
I don't know
surface.
that we really know that. I don't know, because I remember when this story broke and they said that he was being charged. Even the council member himself said he didn't see it coming. And which usually, you know, you think they would offer you a plea deal or whatever, but he may not have been offered that. And then, you know, it was just on. So we don't know. There's been speculation that, you know, enemies of his within the county government targeted. There was speculation that folks at USC, powerful, rich folks at USC, might have targeted him, knowing he was probably running for mayor. I mean, there's been speculation, but there's no proof as to how this got on the radar of the feds and how it became, you know, the massive case that it is now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses of like, you know, and be biased, but I just don't feel that he's not like your typical quote unquote corrupt politician.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if that's why I said for the folks that are online talking all that smack, I feel like you really don't know the track record of this particular person. You can stereotype all politicians, but if you look at the actual track record of this politician, all the people he has helped, from the Southern Christian Leadership Conference leadership, you know, his leadership of that organization here in LA, to all of his work as a councilman, a supervisor, and then a council member again. There's no way you could know that and think that he is a typical corrupt politician. Sherri Bell's with me, and you are in the conversation as well. 800-920-1580. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Let the law office of Jay Blacknell take the worry and stress out of your case. We support the right to a fair trial for Los Angeles Councilmember Mark Ridley Thomas. If you are facing a criminal or civil rights matter, please give us a call, 310-469-9117.
KBLA 1580 Talk Radio congratulates Sal's Gumbo Shack for this Women's History Month. Surviving the pandemic and social unrest, Sal's Gumbo Shack continued to hold the community up with great food to all that came through the doors. Are you ready for the best gumbo in town? The best po' boy you've had? Sal's Gumbo Shack. We bring the bayou to you with real authentic soul food. Mama and Granny's recipes made with real butter, real love, real everything. Also introducing a healthy option from our jackfruit selection. And there's more. Mouth-watering desserts, peach cobbler, banana pudding, red and blue velvet cake, 7-Up pound cake, homemade with lots of love. To order, call 562-423-2113. That's 562-423-2113. Sal's is also providing training and employment to those serious about a career in the food industry and the opportunity to perhaps own your own Sal's Gumbo Shack one day. Visit salsgumboshack.com or stop by either locations, Bixby Knolls or Long Beach Boulevard. Sal's Gumbo Shack.
Thanks to our new sponsor, Lendistry. Lendistry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered in Los Angeles. Lendistry helps small business owners access the affordable capital needed to grow. Visit Lendistry, LENDISTRY.com/KBLA today.
Moments like hearing my cat purr good morning mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib. Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South L.A. high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South L.A. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCEL scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now, Sherri Bell, a KBLA contributor, my partner in politics. She's a labor organizer. You can call and talk to us. It doesn't just have to be me and Sherri talking. You know, I appreciate you. She shows up here early. She's always looking amazing.
Oh, thank you.
She has her makeup on. Mac feel like a total slacker. I need to come over to your house on Friday morning so we can get ready together.
That's so funny.
You can call me now, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Let's go to Big Phil, calling us from L.A. Good morning, Big Phil.
Good morning. Quick and rise this morning. How you doing, my sisters? This is a very sad day. You know, me and Mark go back over the years. I've been in March with the brother. Very powerful brother. I said this, Dominique, I think about 2 weeks ago. I told you when they said the United States versus Mark Ridley Thomas, and she's white and he's black. Very powerful brother in our community, also our community. And it's a very sad day. It really is. And I was kind of concerned about that when she took that deal. It's going to come back. And,
Phil, I remember when you said that. You called in and you said, you know, that the Marilyn Flynn taking a plea deal made you nervous and made you think it didn't look good for MRT. And I remember I downplayed that because I felt like, well, we don't know what else she has going on. You know, she's old. She's like 84, not to be an ageist, but she's 84. So, you know, for her, she can't do hard time, right? And also they offered her a deal, and we don't know if they even offered Mark Ridley Thomas a deal, to Areva Martin's point on yesterday. So you were right. And I hate that you were right, but apparently you were right.
Well, you know what? I've been on, brother, been to some of my concerts, like King of Jaspers. I take the artists, I do private security. And not just that. We was just out at the park with Karen Bass. Remember that? I brought Rodney out of Ripper out there. We were celebrating it. And Karen Bass, like, she can see her face. She's just so hurt. She look hurt. You can see it because they personal friends over the years. You know what I mean? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to land with this song, Stevie Wonder. Heaven help us all. Help the brothers.
Yeah.
Just one more day. I love you guys. God bless you.
Love you more. Thanks, Big Phil. Yeah, he did say that. He, you know, he called in and he said he felt like he saw the writing on the wall when the USC dean took a plea deal.
Yeah. I don't know how the process worked and, like, you know, why her process ended quicker. I mean, I guess because she took a deal and he took a trial.
Right.
But I don't know if they were approached at the same time or did they start with her to try to get him. You know, I don't know.
Well, to me, it seems like, I mean, I don't know either. But, you know, first of all, I don't know that he would have taken a deal because he's a man of integrity and he's a man of principle and he's a fighter. And he, you know, from what I know of Mark Ridley Thomas, and I have worked with him, not worked for him, but worked with him on many occasions, and also just observed him and voted for him.
Yeah.
That he's a fighter. He's not just going to say, "Oh, okay, I'm a criminal," when he knows that he's not. But at the same time, the fact that he said he was taken by surprise by this, it seems to indicate that he was not offered a deal. So.
Yeah. Well, that's. I mean, they say it's in the dark, gonna come to the light, right? And.
Yeah, it's just and I felt terrible. I do feel terrible. I feel terrible for his family and for the community. There's another possible scenario that I haven't heard talked about as much, which is that his attorneys have said they are going to make a motion for a mistrial. That will happen, I believe, in May. Before the sentencing is scheduled for August 15th. That could always be delayed, though, if you think about it. Let's say that, it could be delayed or not happen. If there's a mistrial declared, then they have to go through this whole process again, which is expensive and, it's just a drag on time. But at the same time, it would give him another chance to prove his innocence. Yeah. And then, so that's one option if the motion for a mistrial is granted. And then the other option is that, he wins on appeal. So the judge could say, we're going to delay sentencing and let him stay out of jail pending appeal.
I hope that's the case. And I mean, some of the charges did get dismissed, which is good.
Yeah, a lot of them, 12 out of 19. But the thing is that the most serious ones were the ones that, that they convicted on. We've got news, traffic, and sports, and then continuing our conversation, and you're welcome in. 800-920-1580. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. In Illinois, Bernie Sanders is campaigning for African-American Brandon Johnson just days ahead of the Chicago mayoral election. The U.S. Senator from Vermont rallied thousands of supporters at the University of Illinois at Chicago last night.
He's going to do what the city has never seen. He's going to bring people together to make sure that all of our people have a decent life.
Sanders stressed the importance of voter turnout. Johnson is set to face Paul Vallis in the April 4th runoff. More than 65 million Americans in at least 15 states are in the path of what meteorologists are calling explosive thunderstorms. That weather will impact cities including Chicago, St. Louis, Indianapolis, and Little Rock, Arkansas. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
It's showtime. Join us at the Bart Hall Show, March 29th to April 2nd at the Long Beach Convention Center, presented by Progressive, and celebrate 75 years of Hall Show excellence, the leader in outdoor recreation since 1946. Go to hallshows.com. Hallshows.com.
The Dell Technologies semi-annual sale starts now with savings on select PCs powered by the latest 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Plus, get deals on select accessories and free shipping on everything. Save now by calling 877-ASK-DELL.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers and Clippers are back in action tonight. The Lakers are in Minnesota. A win tonight puts the Lakers above 500 for the first time this season. The Clippers are in Memphis. The Dodgers beat Arizona by 6 in their season opener. The NCAA Women's Final Four tips off tonight. LSU battles Virginia Tech. Undefeated South Carolina takes on Iowa. Both games on ESPN. The men's Final Four is Saturday. San Diego State versus Florida Atlantic. UConn versus Miami. Both games on CBS. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. This sports report was brought to you by Original Taco Pete.
It's Aaron from Original Taco Pete. Let us cater your March Madness munchies. Order with us at Original Taco Pete on Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, or stop into our Slauson and Crenshaw location. We'll feed you soon.
I'm young, gifted, and black. At KBLA Talk 1580,
we do more than just talk.
Hey there, I'm Jared Hill, president of the National Association of Black Journalists of Los Angeles, and I just want to say thank you for the benevolent $10,000 donation and scholarships for the next generation of black journalists.
And I'm Haywood Galbraith, photojournalist and founder of the Minority Photojournalism Institute. Thanks, KBLA, for your generous $10,000 scholarship gift to help us train the next generation of black photojournalists.
Congratulations to all the students who will benefit from the scholarship dollars raised at our Black History Month luncheon, honoring black legends in LA media. When we come forward at KBLA Talk 1580, we're bringing everybody with us. Everybody with us. Everybody with us. Everybody with us.
Personal Injury Law Office is your go-to attorney for criminal cases. That's why we support the right to a fair trial for Los Angeles Councilman Mark Ridley Thomas. Call me at 424-261-2075 if you're facing any criminal offenses.
Join Black Wealth Matters, an educational series as we explore and explain the Black College Athletes Playbook in a 5-part series starting April 6th. Dr. Davarian Baldwin, an award-winning scholar and author, seen in Time, CNBC, and more, helps us follow the college dollars. Coach John Mosley, fan favorite of Netflix's docuseries Last Chance U, covers the new world of the college athletes. David McGriff, one of the leaders in the NIL and sports world and owner of the McGriff Agency, explains NIL and the effects on black athletes. Keisha Richardson gives the challenges of raising a black athlete. And last, for the bonus series, we want to give athletes the tools to capitalize from their name and likeness with swimming bronze medalist from the 2021 Paralympics, Jamal Hill. There is no cost for the series. It's a live webinar. Questions are welcome. Register on KBLA1580.com. California is a great place to live and work, but those aren't easy things to do for students also going to college. That's why the state created the Californians for All College Corps, a way for students to build skills and help others while earning up to $10,000 for school. Commit to serve your community and we'll help you pay for college. Spots will fill up fast, so learn more and apply today at www.cacollegecorps.com. That's www.cacollegecorps.com. California is a great place to live and work, but those aren't easy things to do for students also going to college. That's why the state created the Californians for All College Corps, a way for students to build skills and help others while earning up to $10,000 for school. Commit to serve your community and we'll help you pay for college. Spots will fill up fast, so learn more and apply today at www.cacollegecorps.com. That's www.cacollegecorps.com.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, indeed. The conversation is open. It is a round table, even when it's just me on this mic. And today, Sherri Bell is here. Don't be shy. Don't be scared. 800-920-1580. So we're talking about, what can happen next with Councilmember Mark Ridley Thomas. So if it's a mistrial that is declared, and I believe that motion will be heard in May, then they would start all over. The feds would have to re-prosecute the case. If it's an appeal, they are going to have. They automatically are going to file an appeal if there's no mistrial granted, which means that they could either go ahead and sentence him on August 14th or 15th, or the judge could say, well, we're going to let him stay out on bail pending appeal.
I hope you get to stay
Which, they don't do it all the time, but to me, this is a case where you would,
Yeah.
He's not a flight risk. Obviously, they don't think that, or they would have taken him into custody right when he was convicted. He's not a flight risk. He's very well respected in the community. I mean, he would never have to do community service. His whole life has been community service. So it would make, if there is ever a time when you would keep someone out on bail pending appeal, it should be this case.
Yeah, if it's not, then it's just overkill. I'm curious to know, how many jurors voted guilty versus not guilty. Like, was it a unanimous?
Don't they have to? I think it has to be unanimous.
I mean, yes, it has to be unanimous. I'm just trying to figure out the ratio.
During the course of, because one of the jurors indicated that they were leaning towards not guilty, and then they flipped, which didn't seem like it made a lot of sense given the questions that were being asked, and also because if everyone's like, "Oh, not guilty," then you usually see a fast verdict, right? And this dragged on for 4 days, and so I don't know. I don't know all the details of that. Maybe some folks do that are more astute than I am, but I feel like that hidden in that conversation may be the reason for a mistrial, because there was definitely reaction from the jurors saying that the jury instructions were confusing, that their questions weren't really answered, and so if it's found that that judge was biased in any way or not giving proper instructions to the jury, that would be a basis for a mistrial.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, if he was doing those things, if he wasn't, purposely confusing the viewers, or if the jurors felt confused, I mean, it definitely should be, right?
I mean, yeah, it was confusing. I mean, the whole scenario was confusing, but to me, the kinds of questions they were asking were some of them seemed real, like, foundational. And what's the difference between, unlawful and illegal? My understanding, they're synonyms. Maybe they were asking for a legal definition, but and then the judge says, well, refer to the original jury instructions. Well, they
weren't getting their questions properly answered.
I mean, I believe that could be argued. Yeah, dang. I believe that could be argued if that could be a basis for a mistrial. Because if your kid comes to you and says, what does this word mean, and you go, what I already told you, boy.
Go look it up.
Right. Well, that's not. Yeah, and how can they look it up? I mean, they're not allowed to be surfing the internet while they're in chambers deliberating. So that could be a basis for a mistrial.
Wow.
They'll look at the original jury. Well, obviously, they didn't understand the original jury instructions, or they would not have been asking that question. Let's go to Velvet calling us from L.A. Good morning, Velvet.
Good morning. I have two concerns. One of the jurors was from San Luis Obispo. How did that happen?
Whoa.
Well, it's L.A. County, I guess. Is it? Is San Luis Obispo
No,
L.A.
it's
County?
not.
No, it's not. I don't know. That's a really good question.
And
that was
federal.
because it's federal. You're right. Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
But it sounds like they Rodney King with the Simi Valley situation. I'm sorry, Velvet. Go ahead.
Well, and that was the four-person, right? Wasn't that the jury four-person that was from San Luis Obispo?
That's it. She was the floor person, and she claimed that, nobody else wanted to take the position. And so she stepped up, and she was one of the older people.
Yeah, but that's, Sherri, you're right. It's a federal case. So I guess I don't know the actual rules on that, but that's probably why.
Do you know, or have anybody seen like the demographic makeup of the jury?
I mean, there were black folks there.
Oh, yeah?
So some people are saying, well, it couldn't be racism because there's black folks there. I don't know if that's 100% true, but know which black folks. But
they could have cherry-picked from different areas. Who knows? Like, yeah.
And the other thing is, though, like if I think about the George Zimmerman trial where you had that one. Now, there were 3 black people.
Oh, wow.
So in the George Zimmerman trial, you had one, and she was bullied, and, well, she was, I guess, Afro-Latina, and bullied and harassed until she changed her.
Wow.
Because she was the lone holdout. And then later ended up homeless and, went through all these changes. So that can be, the dynamics of that are hard to know if you're not in the room.
Well, I was in the room, but and another problem that I thought was we didn't get to hear the jury instructions at all. So I'm still wondering what was the actual instructions to the jury.
Yeah.
So,
well, I feel like we're going to get more and more out of this stuff out in the days ahead. Velvet, how are you feeling right now?
Well, I'm kind of sad.
Yeah, same.
I'm very sad, actually. I really thought that he would be acquitted, or, I never thought that they would from what I heard. I never thought that they could come to the conclusion on anything that was said in that trial. Because the witnesses weren't there. I mean, and I felt like if he was committing a crime, anyone would be smart enough not to do no emailing.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's a good point.
They said that it wasn't a crime, what he did. So it just didn't make sense to me.
And honestly, I think a lot of people were with you on that, Velvet. A lot of people just didn't feel like the prosecution put on a strong case. And honestly...
They were horrible.
Yeah. Is that what you thought? They were horrible?
Yes. I couldn't even believe they work for the federal government. I mean, I couldn't believe they were, practiced attorneys.
Yeah,
I probably could have did a better case.
Honestly, initially I was really, feeling like it's the feds, and the feds come for you. That's never good. But then as I heard the case unfolding, I became optimistic that he was going to beat it, because I thought the case was weak, because Flynn didn't even testify. How does Marilyn Flynn not testify? And she pleaded guilty. It just seemed like they didn't have the evidence that I thought they would have, or that I thought they would at least try to act like they had. And so I was pretty shocked yesterday too. I'm not going to lie. I did think that he was going to win.
Velvet, did you think that he was going to testify when you were there?
I didn't expect him to testify. I wouldn't have either. I mean, but I did. I stepped out of the room, out of the court, outside, and a couple of the federal security officers was talking to me. And I noticed that the jurors were outside, so I thought they were going to go back in to deliberate. And they actually went in, and I was still out there. I wasn't in the court when they made their decision or they announced their decision. But later I felt good because I didn't want to ever hear him get convicted. So God did for me what I couldn't do for myself. Because I'd probably be feeling worse if I had seen them say he was guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to be there when you were there, and that you were protected when you needed to be protected. Velvet called us at 800-920-1580, and you are invited to do the same. It is KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates Women's History Month, spotlighting women leaders in our community who are creating positive change. This KBLA Women's Leaders Series spotlights Tina Sims. Please meet Tina Sims. Tina has been with Walmart for 10 years when she started as a department co-manager. To truly understand the culture of Walmart, Tina was asked to be placed in a role where she could learn the day-to-day business as a leader and to understand the people segment of the company. Tina was promoted to co-manager in a $100 million store and placed as the overnight co-manager. Mastering the process, she was promoted to fresh foods and consumable co-manager. Tina feels learning from associates who understood the Walmart brand accelerated her career and was appointed as the market champion for fresh foods and consumables. Tina has spent time learning the process and expectations of her department and has shared her knowledge with the entire market. Tina continues to be a student of the business to better herself as a leader and to help others advance their careers. Tina has been a store manager now with Walmart for 6 years. KBLA and Walmart salutes Tina Sims.
My name is Allison, and I was involved in an auto accident, and I didn't know what to do. I went to 3 different attorneys for help, and they all gave me the runaround. So I called Levias & Associates. Arthur Levias asked me a few questions and then put me on the phone with an attorney, and they took care of everything. I got more money than I ever thought possible. Now, I refer Mr. Levias to all of my friends and family, and we're always happy with the outcome. Levias & Associates. No one can help you better.
My name is Arthur Levias, President and CEO of Levias & Associates. My promise to you is that we will continue to give you the very best service possible. and refer you to an attorney that will fight hard to get the very best results for you. Levias and Associates for all your legal needs. Auto accidents, slip and falls, workers' compensation,
No one can help
criminal
you better.
cases, family law. Whatever your legal need may be, call Levias and Associates. 1-800-500-7047. 1-800-500-7047. Levias and Associates. No one can help you better. Levias and Associates.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back. We never left. Dominique DiPrima and Sherri Bell. And, you know, of course, I'm mourning the death of Nipsey Hussle. Mm-hmm. Of course, I am. It's been, 4 years already? It's 4 years since he was murdered.
4 years? Wow.
And, of course, I'm celebrating the life of Cesar Chavez. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you must be as a labor organizer.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for Cesar and his sacrifices in coalition of organizing, agriculture workers would not have a union till this day. Akili, who's one of my mentors, organized alongside Cesar Chavez. So he had like a multi-ethnic, and racial coalition of, organizers.
That's wild. Akili from Black Lives Matter?
Yep.
Wow.
Organized alongside Cesar Chavez. And, a lot of his sacrifices with the great boycott in the 80s and things of that nature, really transformed the ag industry and continues to transform it. Of course, ag was left out of a lot of labor codes because of those jobs were held by largely black folks. Black folks were agriculture and also domestic workers who coincidentally were held out a lot of law protections for their labor. So, that's why it had to be a lot of fighting to get those rights. So Cesar went on hunger strikes and did all kind of stuff to make sure that, people were able to work with dignity.
And over time, more Latinos and actually Filipinos were in those jobs, right? Mostly the agriculture jobs. Mm-hmm. And again, the same thing with a lot of those house cleaners. It started out
janitors.
Being, and janitors. Mm-hmm. It was always black folks, and then now mostly held by Latine folks. Right. Let's go to Carl calling us from L.A. Hi, Carl.
Hey, good morning, Dominique. How about we do put Keeley or Hutchinson on the ballot to take that position that Mark Thomas really had? And how much of the media should we believe that they saying that there was other Board of Supervisors members that gave the okay for Mark Thomas to do what he did? I mean, how much of this should we believe?
Well, let's take your questions one at a time. All five supervisors have to approve anything. No one supervisor can pass a contract, which is one of the reasons it's I thought the premise of the charges was dumb. Mark Ridley Thomas doesn't have the power as an individual to say, I grant you this contract, USC. Mm-hmm. So it is true they all voted on it. But since, to my knowledge, all of those supervisors did not transfer money to a nonprofit, and or get scholarships for their children. That's what they were trying to make the distinction, right? That's the distinction they were trying to argue. But it is true that all of the supervisors approved those contracts or they wouldn't have been approved. I don't know if you need, actually, you might not need all 5. You might need 3 out of the 5. You know what? I might be wrong about that, but it's definitely not one person. There's no one person that can approve a contract. And as far as who will run to replace, I'll pass on Hutchison. If Akili wanted to run, then that would be interesting. But you already have Heather Hutt, who's declared her candidacy and is currently in the position. And you have Reggie Jones-Sawyer. So the question becomes, and you know that Mark Ridley Thomas' original rival for that seat is Grace Yu is going to probably jump back in. So then the question becomes, if we splinter the black vote, will we end up with someone else in the seat? And who else will emerge? I imagine a lot of folks will run. So I think we have to take a wait and see approach on that, Carl. As always, you're invited in 920-1580. It's 800, of course. It's toll free. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
We may be LA's newest talk station, but when you're punching above your weight, it's not about whether you can throw a punch. Can you take a punch? We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. And we don't black down.
Gotta stay fresh, my house shot with a rest bar,
Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, it's me, Gia Peppers. Tune in to More Than That live on radio this weekend or wherever you listen to podcasts. This week, I'm talking to our guests Carmion Hamilton and Jewel Pearson, who share how DIY and tiny homes can allow us to reimagine where we live and the spaces we love. This episode of More Than That is brought to you by Kroger, making fresh food more accessible for our local communities.
It is 1,000% imperative that Black people enjoy the environments that they are in. We, as a people, have gone through enough over the last 400 years. The least we could do for ourselves is exist in a space that we feel good about being in. And I tell people, even if you don't see it together in the inspiration that you're looking for, the fact that you love these things, like, it may not go together for anybody else. It may not make sense to anybody else, but the fact that you love them, that is the thread. And so it will absolutely go together when it's pulled together in your space. It will make sense to you because it's your space.
I wanted to make decisions that were based on what does Jewel want to do versus how much money do I have in my bank account. And that's kind of when I pivoted and decided that I was building a tiny house on wheels and started the research, and here I am. I think I'd start with the very cliche, less is more, for one thing, and then build from there. Because I don't feel like I have given anything up in this process, and that I attribute to the design of my home. And I have all of the things in my home because before I actually built, I knew who I was and what I needed to have in this space. You don't have to give up luxury to go tiny.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? I didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
And rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. Rest in peace, Eric Wright, Eazy-E. And happy birthday, Cesar Chavez. Sherri Bell is with me. I'm Dominique DiPrima. And, of course, you know you're listening to KBLA. You know the number, 800-920-1580. We're going right to Charles. Charles, are you calling from Culver City?
Yeah, it's Charles. So I hadn't heard about the attorney. I hadn't heard her name mentioned. Did you know much about his attorney?
It's a law firm, so he had a number of different attorneys. I know that they are supposed to be among the best. I mean, these are super high-priced. It's a super high-priced firm, and it was only possible because so many people donated. That MRT had, I think, $1.5 million in his campaign coffers. Beyond that, I don't know. I don't know in detail, but I know that they are very highly regarded.
Okay, well, the head attorney is a woman named Darylyn Dury. She's out of San Francisco.
Right.
They specialize in technology and life science sectors. So this isn't even their bailiwick. You know, he should have called 1-800-UNITE-US. He would have got a good black attorney, somebody knows the lay of the land here in L.A., somebody that would have went around to the local black stations and, media outlets, got the public more involved in understanding what exactly what's going on.
Well, it's the jury that matters, not the public.
Well, in high-profile cases, especially dealing with politics, public perception is also a factor, too, in these cases, these high-profile cases. So I just don't think she did a good job of making the case either to the jury or to the public. You got to go out there and, fight for your candidate. And most people, I've asked several people, they didn't know who was representing them.
It's Dury
right?
Tangri, right? That's the firm. Yeah, I mean, they're highly regarded is all I can say. I don't know. I always want us to hire black everything, but I've believed that there was a lot of research done on finding, the best, what they believe to be the best. And you're right, they're from the Bay. So it's easy for us to Monday morning quarterback this, but I think there was considerable care taken in selecting those attorneys. Thank you, Charles. Appreciate the call. Sherri Bell, it always goes so quick when you're on the mic with me.
Oh, wow. Is it over? Is it over already?
Find Sherri at, yeah, right? Isn't that crazy? Sherri De La Ghetto on Instagram.
Yep, that's right.
Find us at KBLA 1580.
Happy Friday, y'all. Stay tuned.
It's KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. In Illinois, Bernie Sanders is campaigning for African-American Brandon Johnson just days ahead of the Chicago mayoral election. The U.S. Senator from Vermont rallied thousands of supporters at the University of Illinois at Chicago last night.
He's going to do what this city has never seen. He's going to bring people together to make sure that all of our people have a decent life.
SandersNews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. If you're like many people, you may think